I try not to fidget as Mom slides the pot roast platter toward me, the familiar scent of rosemary and garlic momentarily masking the tension in the air. My simple charcoal pantsuit feels suddenly inadequate next to Camille's flowing maternity dress with its delicate floral pattern that perfectly highlights her 7-month baby bump. "More potatoes, Adriana?" Mom asks, already scooping a generous portion onto my plate before I can answer. "Thanks," I mutter, catching Dad's approving nod from his throne at the head of the table. Camille's husband Ethan keeps his eyes fixed on his plate, methodically cutting his meat into perfect squares. He hasn't looked at me once since I arrived, which is strange even for him. Something's off tonight. "So," Mom begins with a too casual tone that immediately sets off alarm bells. "Renee from accounting mentioned your team landed the Westbrook account." I freeze mid-bite. "How do you know Renee?" "Oh, she's in my garden club now. Such a lovely woman." Mom waves her hand dismissively. "She mentioned you received quite a substantial bonus. $18,000. We're so proud of you, honey." The pot roast turns to sawdust in my mouth. I never told them about my bonus. Never. That information was private, my small victory after 3 years of 60-hour work weeks, of missed vacations and skipped lunch breaks. I start, but Dad cuts me off. "Perfect timing," he announces, setting down his fork with a clink that silences the table. "Adriana will be sponsoring Camille's baby shower." My fork freezes halfway to my mouth. Time seems to stop as the words hang in the air between us. I look from Dad's expectant face to Mom's pleased smile to Camille's expression's smug satisfaction, barely concealed beneath a veneer of grateful surprise. "What?" The word comes out as a whisper. "It's so generous of you," Camille gushes, placing a hand on her rounded belly. "We've been so worried about giving this baby the welcome she deserves." I stare at my sister, my mind flashing back to a summer day 20 years ago. 8-year-old me, nose pressed against the window glass, watching as a dozen little girls in party dresses twirled through our backyard. Streamers hung from every tree. A professional clown made balloon animals, while a photographer captured every moment of Camille's 10th birthday extravaganza. 2 months later, on my birthday, Mom had ordered a small pepperoni pizza. "Finish your homework before we eat," Dad had insisted, barely looking up from his newspaper. No party. No friends. Just a single candle stuck in a slice of pizza and a pair of sensible shoes as my gift. "We need to save," they'd explained when I asked why Camille got dance lessons while I stayed home. Why Camille got braces while I learned to smile with my lips closed. Why Camille got a car for graduation while I took the bus to my part-time job, saving every penny for the future they said I'd need to build for myself. "The Rosewood Ballroom has the most beautiful package," Dad continues, misinterpreting my silence as agreement. $10,000 covers everything: catering, decorations, photographer. All the trimmings. All the trimmings. My fingers tighten around my fork. $10,000. Nearly 2/3 of my bonus. Vanishing before I've even decided what to do with it. The money that represents hundreds of late nights, thousands of missed moments. "Look at these photos," Camille says, sliding her phone across the table. "Isn't it beautiful? We've already picked out the color scheme." I glance up from the phone to see Ethan shift uncomfortably in his chair. There's something in his expression, guilt, perhaps, that tells me he's not entirely comfortable with this ambush either. "I haven't agreed to anything," I say finally, my voice sounding distant even to my own ears. Mom laughs lightly. "Don't be silly, Adriana. Of course you'll do this for your sister. Family comes first." The drive home is a blur, my knuckles white against the steering wheel. Rain starts to fall, pattering against the windshield, in rhythm with my racing thoughts. I park in front of my apartment building, small but mine, bought with years of careful saving while my coworkers upgraded to luxury rentals. Inside, I kick off my shoes and sink onto my sofa, the one splurge I allowed myself when I moved in. The notification ping from my phone sounds like an accusation. With trembling fingers, I open Facebook to see Camille's post already gathering likes. "So blessed to announce that my amazing sister Adriana is throwing us the baby shower of our dreams at the Rosewood Ballroom. Best aunt ever. Family love. Baby shower." Comments flood in beneath it. "Congratulations. How generous. What a wonderful aunt." I stare at the screen, a cold realization settling in my stomach. They've trapped me. To refuse now would make me the villain in a story they've already written, with a role they've decided I should play. Just like always. The next morning, the phone rings at precisely 7:30 a.m., just as I'm stepping out of the shower. I already know who it is before checking the caller ID. Hi, Mom. I answer, tucking the phone between my ear and shoulder while towel drying my hair. Just checking in, sweetheart, she chirps, her voice honeyed with false casualness. Did you sleep well? Fine, I lie. My night was spent staring at the ceiling, calculating how many overtime hours that $10,000 represents. 416, to be exact. 52 8-hour days of my life. Good, good. I was thinking about the shower menu. The Rosewood offers both a brunch and afternoon tea option. She pauses, waiting for my enthusiasm. When none comes, she adds, Camille leans toward the tea sandwiches, but with her condition, she needs the protein from the brunch option. I say nothing, watching water droplets race down my bathroom mirror. Adriana, are you listening? I haven't agreed to this, Mom. Her laugh tinkles through the phone like breaking glass. Don't be difficult, dear. Your father is stopping by your office today with the brochures. The call ends before I can protest. I grip the sink edge, knuckles whitening as I stare at my reflection. The woman looking back at me appears calm, controlled the mask I've perfected since childhood. At work, I'm reviewing quarterly projections when Jessica pokes her head in. Someone's here to see you. Your dad? My stomach tightens. Thanks. Dad stands in the reception area, his golf tan making his teeth appear unnaturally white when he smiles. Under his arm, a leather portfolio bulges with what I know are the promised brochures. Busy day? He asks, settling into the chair opposite my desk without waiting for an invitation. Always. He slides the portfolio across my desk like he's closing a business deal. Martha and I took the liberty of narrowing down the options. Inside are glossy photos of the Rosewood Ballroom, draped in various pastels, elaborate centerpieces, and custom-printed napkins. Paper-clipped to the last page is an itemized invoice for $10,000 with my name already filled in as the responsible party. You've already done the consultation, I say, the statement flat. Naturally, the venue books quickly. These packages move fast. He taps the invoice with his manicured finger. The deposit deadline is the 15th of October. That's 3 weeks away. Correct. He stands, straightening his golf shirt. Camille is very excited. She's calling it her daughter's first party. After he leaves, Jessica finds me staring blankly at my computer screen. Everything okay? She asks, placing a coffee on my desk. My family expects me to spend $10,000 on my sister's baby shower. Jessica's eyebrows shoot up. The same sister who posted that ridiculously tone-deaf engagement photo shoot on a yacht last year? I nod, remembering how Camille had captioned those photos. Dreams come true when you're loved the most. The unspoken comparison had stung then. It stings now. That's insane, Jessica says. Tell them no. I wish it were that simple. They've already announced it online, made appointments, selected a venue. Jessica perches on the edge of my desk. So? That's their problem, not yours. Her words hang in the air between us, a foreign concept I can barely grasp. That evening, I find an envelope in my mailbox. Inside is a handwritten note from Camille, accompanied by a sonogram picture. Baby girl already loves her Auntie Adriana. We're so blessed you're giving her the welcome she deserves. The Rosewood needs your credit card information for the deposit. Mom said you wouldn't mind if we used the one they have on file from Dad's birthday dinner. Love you. My phone pings with a text from my cousin, so excited for Camille's shower. My flight lands at 2 p.m. that Saturday. Can you pick me up or should I Uber to the venue? The walls close in as I realize how thoroughly they've trapped me. Another ping, a private message from Ethan. I'm sorry about all this, Adriana. I tried to suggest something smaller, but you know how Camille gets. Please help us this once, for family harmony. I promise to make it up to you. The next morning, a knock at my door reveals Mom holding a small white bakery box tied with pink ribbon. I brought breakfast, she announces, breezing past me into my apartment. She places the box on my coffee table and opens it with a flourish, revealing a single slice of 3-layer chocolate cake. From Belvoir's, she says, naming the upscale bakery that catered all of Camille's childhood celebrations. I ordered the full cake for the shower tasting, but thought you might like a sample. She hands me a plastic fork. The cake looks exactly like the one from Camille's 10th birthday, the party I watched through the window. For adults, a small slice is enough. Mom says, watching me take a tentative bite, children deserve the big cake, don't you think? The chocolate turns to ash in my mouth as memories surface. Camille blowing out candles on entire cakes while I received my dutiful slice. Camille unwrapping mountains of gifts while I received my practical one. Camille's dreams nurtured while mine were deemed impractical. It's delicious, I lie. After she leaves, I sink onto my sofa, the remainder of the cake slice sitting untouched on my coffee table. Tears slip down my cheeks as I realize I'm still that little girl with her nose pressed against the glass, watching someone else's celebration from the outside. My phone rings, my therapist returning my urgent call from this morning before my mother came. "Tell me what's happening, Adriana," Dr. Levine says. The words pour out the dinner ambush, the invoice, the credit card, the social media announcements. As I speak, the scattered pieces of my life form a pattern I've never fully acknowledged. They've always done this, I whisper, the realization both devastating and oddly freeing. They've always expected me to give while Camille takes. "And what do you want to do about it?" Dr. Levine asks. I glance at the calendar where the 15th of October looms the deposit deadline. The date when I'll either surrender my hard-earned bonus or finally stand my ground. I don't know yet, I admit, but for the first time, I allow myself to imagine saying no. That night, as hourly texts from Camille light up my phone with shower color schemes and guest list additions, I lie awake reviewing my life of acquiescence. Each time I gave in. Each yes, that should have been no. Each sacrifice that went unnoticed, while Camille's smallest efforts were celebrated. As dawn breaks, I realize this isn't just about money. It's about my worth. And for once, I need to value myself first. Camille's latest Instagram post appears on my phone screen at 6:12 a.m., jolting me awake better than any alarm. Her perfectly filtered ultrasound photo is captioned, "Can't wait for baby shower details. Aunt Adriana's special gift is going to make this celebration unforgettable. Blessed family, generous aunt." I stare at the ceiling, counting the hairline cracks I've memorized over sleepless nights. 47 comments already. Each one another brick in this prison they're building around me. At work later that morning, my phone buzzes again. A text from Jessica. "Did your mom just call the office asking for my help with surprise elements for a shower?" The betrayal burns fresh. They're reaching into every corner of my life now. The morning crawls by in a fog of spreadsheets and client calls. At lunch, my boss Diane stops by my desk, concern creasing her forehead. "Robert Reynolds was in the lobby earlier, said he needed to drop something off for you." My stomach twists. "My father?" She nods, sliding a glossy brochure across my desk. "Mentioned something about your commitment to his golf buddies. Everything okay?" The Rosewood Ballroom brochure gleams under fluorescent lights. Someone has helpfully circled package prices in red marker. "Family stuff," I mutter, shoving it into my drawer. "Nothing important." Back in my apartment that evening, I pull out the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet. Beneath tax returns and insurance policies lies a simple manila folder. Inside, the deed to my apartment. I trace my signature on the document. 2 years ago. The down payment represented 1,842 hours of overtime. Weekends, when Camille was posting beach vacation photos. Holidays spent alone with microwave dinners while they gathered without me. "Too small," Mom had said when she first visited. "Why not rent something nicer in the meantime?" "Such a waste to buy before you're settled with a family," Dad had added, not bothering to hide his disappointment. I pull out my work calculator. $10,000. Exactly how many hours of my life? How many skipped lunches and postponed doctor appointments? My fingers find the small photo tucked into the folder's pocket. Me on my 25th birthday, standing alone in my kitchen. A whole chocolate cake with thick frosting sits before me, the first entire cake I'd ever bought just for myself. No slices, no sharing. Mine. Mom had called that night. "At your age, I was raising a family, not playing house alone." I'd cut a sliver of cake after hanging up. Old habits. The next morning, Diane calls me into her office. I expect questions about the Westbrook account, but instead, she gestures to the chair across from her. "My sister tried the same thing when I got my first bonus," she says without preamble. "Suddenly needed help with my niece's college fund." My face burns. "I don't. Family thinks your money belongs to them because they made you." She leans forward. "But you made yourself, Adriana. That bonus? You earned every penny through work they never saw or valued." Her words follow me through the day, echoing as I push open the door to Magnolia Cafe, where Mom and Camille ambush me the next afternoon. They've already claimed a corner table, fabric swatches, and ribbon samples spread across the surface. We've narrowed it down to sage green with gold accents, Camille announces as I slide into the chair across from them. The calligrapher needs final guest count by Friday. Mom pushes a sample invitation toward me, my name prominently displayed as host, a price list clipped to the back. I stare at the delicate paper, feeling the walls closing in. The web they've spun so carefully around me, each thread another expectation, another assumption. Did you ever consider what I might want to do with my bonus? The question slips out quietly. They both freeze. Mom recovers first with a practiced laugh. Don't be silly, honey. What would you need it for? You don't have children to support. The simple truth of it hangs in the air between us. I don't matter as much because I haven't produced the next generation. My value measured only in what I can provide others. I'm going to use the bathroom, I say, standing abruptly. Instead, I walk straight out the cafe door, ignoring their calls behind me. For the first time in my life, I leave them mid-sentence. Back at my apartment, Jessica helps me draft responses to the barrage of texts from relatives. Keep it simple, she advises. No, Jade, justify, argue, defend, explain. Just, I won't be hosting the shower on repeat. My therapist, Dr. Kelly, role-plays the confrontation scenarios that terrify me most. What's the worst that could happen if they're angry? She asks. They'll cut me off, I whisper. And what would that actually mean in practice? I blink, realizing I've never examined this fear. They rarely call except to ask for something. Holidays are obligations filled with criticism. When was the last time any of them asked about my life? Saturday evening, a knock at my door reveals Camille, eyes puffy from what I suspect are strategic tears. But she's not alone. My neighbor Tom stands casually in the hallway, watering the shared plants. Everything okay, Adriana? He calls, not even trying to hide his protective stance. Just a family visit, I say, letting Camille in but leaving the door wide open. Her ambush turns into an awkward 15 minutes of small talk before she leaves. Mission unaccomplished. Sunday morning, I walk into Sweet Dreams Bakery with a photo on my phone. The same ornate princess castle cake from Camille's 10th birthday party, down to the delicate sugar flowers and miniature drawbridge. Can you recreate this? I ask the baker. But just for one person. That evening, I sit at my kitchen table. The cake, an exact replica of Camille's childhood masterpiece, gleams under my apartment lights. I slice a generous piece, the knife gliding through layers of vanilla and raspberry filling. The first bite dissolves on my tongue. I close my eyes, savoring the sweetness without guilt or obligation. I take a photo of the cake with my slice prominently displayed. For a moment, my finger hovers over the share button. Then I save it to my private album instead. This moment belongs to me alone. My phone pings with another message from Mom. I turn it face down without reading it. The truth settles around me, substantial as the walls of my small apartment, sturdy as the deed in my filing cabinet. I've spent a lifetime accepting crumbs from their table, believing I deserved nothing more. But I built this fortress myself, brick by brick, and within these walls I make the rules. I cut another slice of cake, even larger than the first. On Monday morning, the spreadsheet glows on my laptop screen, each row a testament to years of financial imbalance. Column A, the date. Column B, the request. Column C, the amount. Column D, what Camille received in the same time period. $3,000 for Camille's graduation party. $200 for my card. I mutter, fingers flying across the keyboard. $5,000 toward Camille's wedding. My invitation arrived late. I've been at this for hours, excavating bank statements and credit card records, like an archaeologist unearthing proof of a forgotten civilization. The civilization of Adriana Reynolds, family ATM. My phone buzzes. Mom. Again. The 6th call today. I silence it without looking, and return to my spreadsheet. The numbers don't lie. They never have. The final tally makes my stomach clench. $37,842 over the past 10 years. Nearly $40,000 of my hard-earned money, funneled to the golden child while I lived on ramen and worked overtime. I open a new document and begin typing. To my family, after careful consideration, I will not be funding Camille's baby shower at the Rosewood Ballroom or any other venue. This is not negotiable. Thanks for watching. My financial decisions are mine alone to make. Any further attempts to pressure me will result in a complete communication break. Adriana. I read it over 3 times before hitting send. No justifications, no apologies, just facts and boundaries. The moment I click send, I feel lighter somehow. An hour later, the doorbell rings. Dad stands on my doorstep, face flushed red above his golf shirt. He doesn't wait for an invitation, pushing past me into my living room. What is this nonsense? He waves his phone at me. Your mother is in tears. I meant what I wrote, I say, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. This isn't how we raised you. He paces my small living room, examining my possessions with obvious disapproval. Family supports family. Family. Exactly, I say. When has my family supported me? He stops, mouth opening then closing. For the first time in my life, my father has no ready answer. I have a meeting with a client, I say, holding the door open. I need to leave for work this afternoon. His eyes narrow. This isn't over. Actually, it is. At work, I create a new email folder labeled Family and set up auto-forwarding rules. Every message containing shower, selfish, or your sister gets filtered away from my main inbox. Jessica from accounting notices my determined clicking. Family drama? She asks, leaning against my cubicle. Family financial exploitation. I correct her, feeling a strange liberation in saying it aloud. My phone vibrates with a text from a number I don't recognize. This is Kathy Miller. Remember me from high school? Your mom called about Camille's shower. I block the number without responding and add another rule to my email filter. By lunchtime, Camille has posted a tearful selfie on Instagram, devastated that some people care more about money than family. Please pray for my baby girl, who deserves to be celebrated, abandoned, during pregnancy, heartbroken. The comments flood in. So sorry, how could anyone do this to you? Family should come first. I close the app and take a deep breath. My rehearsed responses play through my mind like a well-practiced script. I've anticipated every guilt trip, prepared for every manipulation tactic. My phone buzzes again. Ethan. The credit card is maxed out. We can't make rent this month. Please, Adriana. Just this once. I stare at his message, a cold realization washing over me. This isn't just about a baby shower. They're drowning financially, and I'm their only life raft. I'm sorry for your situation, I reply. I can recommend a financial counselor. NNO. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally, Robert and Martha are coming to the Wild Sage Cafe tonight. They know you'll be there. Please don't make a scene. I almost laugh. They're worried about ME making a scene? The Wild Sage is my ritual, my weekly indulgence. A quiet corner table, the cedar plank salmon, and an hour with a good book. I consider canceling, eating microwave ramen at home instead. No, I refuse to hide. They're waiting when I arrive after work. Mom, Dad, and Camille huddled at a four-top near the windows. Camille's eyes are rimmed red, one hand resting protectively on her rounded belly. Mom waves frantically when she spots me. Adriana! Over here, honey. Several diners turn to watch as I walk deliberately to my usual corner table and sit down. They exchange glances before migrating to my table like a small, determined army. Mom slides into the chair across from me. Dad stands at the table's edge, blocking my exit. Camille hovers at his side, sniffling dramatically. You've always been jealous of me, she says, voice pitched to Carrie. Even now, you can't stand that I'm starting a family while you're alone. An older couple at the next table looks over, clearly listening. This isn't about jealousy, I say, keeping my voice level. This is about $10,000. It's just money, Mom hisses. Family is forever. I'm not paying $10,000 for a party I didn't plan, I say, the words coming out clearer and stronger than I expected. Not now, not ever. Dad leans forward, voice dropping to a threatening rumble. You ungrateful little. Sir, the waiter interrupts. Is everything okay here? Family discussion, Dad says dismissively. Miss Reynolds, would you like these people to leave your table? The waiter asks me directly. 3 pairs of eyes bore into me, silently demanding compliance. Yes, I say, I would. Heads turn throughout the restaurant as my family gathers their things. Camille's theatrical sobbing echoes as they make their exit. I expect to feel guilt or shame. Instead, I feel lighter than I have in years. Your usual? The waiter asks. Yes, please. As he walks away, I notice several subtle nods from nearby diners. An elderly woman raises her water glass in a silent toast. My phone buzzes with a text from Ethan. I understand your position better than you know. I take a deep breath and do something I've never done before. I block my family's numbers, one by one. Mom, Dad, Camille. For the first time in 29 years, the only voice I need to listen to is my own, and it sounds remarkably like freedom. A week passes by in different attempts for me to give in, but I refuse. I completed a portfolio of evidence of what I contributed to this family through the years, and also found the co-signing agreement for Camille's loan. But all of that ends today. On Saturday afternoon, I walk into my parents' living room carrying a leather portfolio that weighs like armor against my chest. The text message about Camille's emergency hospitalization due to stress brought me here despite my better judgment. But as I take in the scene, Camille lounging on the sofa, scrolling through her phone, looking remarkably healthy for someone supposedly in medical distress, the last thread of my guilt snaps clean. Where have you been? Mom rushes toward me, her voice pitched with practiced concern. We've been worried sick. Dad stands by the fireplace, arms crossed, his silver hair catching the afternoon light. Sit down, Adriana. We need to talk about what's happening with this family. I remain standing. Yes, we do. Ethan shifts uncomfortably in the armchair, eyes darting between me and Camille. The room smells of Mom's cinnamon potpourri, the scent she brings out when trying to create an atmosphere of holiday warmth, regardless of season. A manipulation tactic I recognized from childhood. Camille has been under tremendous stress. Mom begins, perching beside my sister and patting her hand. The doctor said she needs to avoid all upset for the baby's sake. Interesting, I say, placing my portfolio on the coffee table. Because I called the hospital before coming over, they have no record of admitting Camille yesterday or today. The room freezes. Dad's mouth opens, then closes. It was the emergency room, Camille amends quickly. They don't keep records the same way. They do, actually. I unzipped the portfolio, but that's not why I'm here. Mom leans forward, eyes narrowing on the folder. What's all this? The truth. I pull out a spreadsheet and place it on the table. This is a record of every financial favor I've done for this family over the past 8 years, totaling $47,328. Dad steps forward. Now wait just a minute. No, Dad. You wait. My voice doesn't shake like it used to. Camille's transmission repair. Mom's dental work that insurance supposedly didn't cover. The roof repairs on this house after you claimed your retirement account was frozen. I lay down bank statements beside the spreadsheet. I've highlighted each withdrawal, and beside them, I've noted where that money actually went. Mom's face pales as I continue. The money for the roof? 3 days later, Camille posted photos of her new bedroom furniture. The dental emergency? That was the same weekend you and Dad took that Alaskan cruise. You've been spying on us? Camille sits up, hand protectively over her belly. No, I've been paying attention. I pull out another document. This is the loan application I found in your trash last month, Camille, where you listed me as your co-signer, without my knowledge. Ethan's head snaps toward his wife. You did what? She's my sister, Camille hisses. That's what family does. And this? I continue, laying down printouts of Camille's social media posts, is your baby shower announcement from 2 weeks ago, before anyone bothered to ask if I was willing to pay for it. I look directly at my father, whose authority seems to be shrinking with each document I present. You've been using me as your emergency fund for years, taking from me while giving everything to Camille. That's ridiculous, Mom snaps, rising from the sofa. We've always treated you girls equally. The laugh that escapes me holds decades of hurt. Really? These are from my 8th birthday. I slide across childhood photos, Camille surrounded by friends and presents at her elaborate parties, contrasted with images of me alone at the kitchen table with a single candle and a cupcake. That was different, Dad says, his voice losing its edge. We were struggling financially then. Then explain this. Another document lands on the growing pile. My college fund that mysteriously became Camille's wedding fund. The inheritance from Grandma that went entirely to Camille's down payment while I got a coffee maker. You ungrateful little, Mom begins, but Ethan interrupts. Martha, stop. His voice is quiet but firm. She's right. The silence that follows feels like thunder. I've built my life without your help, I continue, my voice steady, despite the trembling in my chest. I've worked 60-hour weeks while Camille calls in family emergencies every time she overspends. I've sacrificed vacations and relationships because I was taught my needs always come last. Dad sinks into his chair, the patriarchal posture collapsing. Not anymore. I stand taller, feeling decades of invisible weight lifting from my shoulders. I'm not your emergency fund. I'm not your second-choice daughter. How dare you speak to us this way? Mom's voice rises sharply. After everything we've done for you? What exactly have you done for me, Mom? Name one thing that didn't ultimately benefit Camille. Her mouth opens, closes, opens again, but nothing comes out. And that's what I thought. I closed my portfolio. Here are my terms for any future relationship: respect, equality, and family therapy. No more financial requests, no more manipulation, no more lies. Or what? Camille challenges, her mask of vulnerability completely gone now. Or nothing. There will simply be no more me in your lives. I reach into my pocket and place my spare key to their house, on top of the pile of evidence. The small metallic sound it makes hitting the table punctuates 29 years of inequality. The baby shower is cancelled, I say. Or rather, I'm not paying for it. What you do with your own money is your business. Ethan catches my eye as I turn to leave, giving me a slight nod that carries unexpected respect. Adriana, don't you walk out that door, Dad warns, finding his voice again. I pause at the threshold, turn back one last time. I already have, years ago. You just never noticed. As I close the door behind me, I hear Mom's angry sob and Camille's indignant protests. But louder than all of that is the sound of my own heartbeat, strong and steady, finally beating for myself. 6 months later, I hang the last framed photo on my living room wall and step back to admire it. Not a family portrait, those remain in storage, but a picture of me standing proudly in front of my new apartment building. Jessica took it 3 months ago on moving day, capturing the moment when I finally allowed myself to upgrade from my starter home to this spacious 2-bedroom, with the terrace I'd secretly coveted for years. Perfect spot, Tom calls from the kitchen, where he's arranging appetizers for my housewarming. The spring sunshine streams through windows, twice the size of my old place. You think? I ask, tilting my head to study the arrangement. Absolutely. It's the first thing people will see when they walk in. He brings over a glass of wine. To new beginnings. The doorbell chimes, and I take a deep breath before opening it. No racing heart, no clenched jaw. The physical symptoms of family anxiety have faded over 6 months of therapy. Jessica enters with her husband Mark, followed by colleagues from work and neighbors from my old building. Not a relative among them, yet the room fills with more genuine warmth than I've felt at any family gathering. Your donation helped fund our entire spring workshop series, says Leanne, my therapist's colleague who runs financial literacy programs for women. 20 participants this session. I smile, remembering how it felt writing that check, using part of what would have been Camille's baby shower money to help other women learn what took me years to understand. Not guilt, not obligation, just quiet satisfaction. Later, as conversation flows around my dining table, the one I bought myself without agonizing over the cost, Mark raises his glass. To Adriana's first home-cooked birthday dinner with friends. It's not my birthday for months. I laugh. Practice run. Jessica winks. Since you mentioned your birthdays were always understated. The familiar ache rises but doesn't overwhelm me. Dr. Levine calls this progress, feeling the hurt without drowning in it. After dinner, I slice into a decadent chocolate cake from Magnolia Bakery. Not the carefully rationed slivers of my childhood, but generous wedges that cause everyone to groan appreciatively. When I cut my own piece, the same size as everyone else's, the simple equality feels revolutionary. My phone buzzes with a text. Ethan. I no longer flinch at family notifications. Camille started financial counseling. Baby girl arrived last night. Both doing well. I type back congratulations, feeling the complicated tangle of emotions without needing to untangle them immediately. Next week's therapy session will help with that. Mom's Christmas card sits on my counter, just a photo this year. No guilt-laden message about family obligations. Dad hasn't spoken to me since I walked out 6 months ago. Some wounds need more time than others. The gathering winds down past midnight. I hug each guest goodbye, savoring the simple pleasure of chosen connections. After everyone leaves, I wander through my new home, fingertips trailing along walls painted in colors I selected. The second bedroom serves as both home office and the headquarters for the investment club I started with coworkers. A leather-bound journal sits open on the desk, documenting my journey not for anyone else's approval, but for my future self. In the kitchen, I cut another slice of cake just because I want it. The gesture, once rebellious, now feels like breathing natural and necessary. I return to the living room and touch the frame holding my photo. Not the one my parents wanted me to be, but the woman I chose to become. Some people will only value you when you value yourself first. I whisper to the empty room that feels anything but empty.